Hey gang, it's JC, and this is the Daily Dose for Tuesday, February 22nd, 2011, a combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. Our eye candy feature, very popular along the bottom strip here. A lot of very, very cool stuff, viral videos, great photographs of one kind or another, the kind of stuff that as soon as you see it, you want to forward it to all of your friends. That makes me very happy when I hear you do that stuff. And up above here, we have our archives and just a lot of old cool TV trivia, little old weather forecast TV commercials, appearances, things that are memorable on one level or another, and we're always adding stuff to those archives. So go ahead and check that out. I want to address something from over the weekend. I'm getting email from people who say, you know, they had that big sports trivia championship thing downtown over the weekend, and pretty much everybody who's ever had anything to do with sports in this town, whether it be an athlete or a broadcaster, whatever the case may be, participated in that thing. And it's so odd, you know, you weren't there, JC. How come you weren't part of that thing? Do you not support the efforts of the St. Patrick Center, and you know, how come you never show up? Well, there's a reason for that. Because John Hewlett and I did that back in the day. We went down there and, read a round of questions and everything. An incident took place a couple of years ago. You may be familiar with the name Dan Buck. Dan is a guy who burst out onto the scene here in St. Louis, I don't know, maybe 12, 15 years ago. He was a reporter at Channel 4, and then he went to work at Channel 5 doing that Show Me St. Louis show that's on at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then Dan went over and hosted the KTRS morning show for a couple of years, and was the administrator of a lot of right-wing George W. Bush go Republican type stuff, and so I wasn't really crazy about all that stuff. But prior to that, when Dan got to St. Louis, you know, I don't know, like I said, it was maybe 12, 15 years ago. It was sort of interesting because with the name Buck here in St. Louis, there are obvious implications. And to make a very, very long story short, Julie Buck, who is a member of the Buck family, finally just got tired of Dan's baloney and called Jerry Berger, the gossip columnist at the Post-Dispatch at the time, and said, look, here's the deal. There's this guy in town. He's been in town for a while now, and he is not necessarily going out and telling people that he is a member of our family, somehow a relation to Jack Buck, but he's not doing anything to dispel it either. We want people to know that Dan Buck is not a member of our family. He has the last name Buck, but in no way, shape, or form is Dan Buck related to the Jack Buck family. And so Jerry Berger printed it, and that would have embarrassed a lot of people, but it didn't seem to embarrass Dan. So now let's fast forward to a couple of years ago, and this requires a little bit of background and this is all going somewhere. I'll explain it in a minute, because I know you're probably figuring, what's this got to do with the Sports Trivia Challenge the other night? It'll make sense, trust me. So go back a couple of years. John Hewlett, my partner on radio for many, many years, has three daughters, and his oldest daughter is named Olivia. And Olivia at 16 was like one of those 16 going on 35 women, one of the brightest, just smartest, socially advanced teenagers I had ever met. And I had an opportunity on many occasions to spend time with Olivia Hewlett and sort of get to know her and just think to myself, wow, this is a bright kid. So Dan Buck goes into Olivia Hewlett's high school when she was either a junior or a senior, I'm not really sure, and says, among other things, that if you are raped, you must bring the baby to term. Dan's a big Catholic, big right-winger, big anti-abortion guy. So Olivia Hewlett comes home, tells her dad tells me, I tell the story on the air, along with all the stuff that I just told you. Because now you're starting to see a body of work, you know, hard right-wing, Republican, conservative nutcase, heavy-duty Catholic, can't have an abortion, that sort of stuff. And, going into a high school and telling, impressionable 16 and 17-year-old women that if you're raped, you must carry the baby to term. And then all that stuff about, well, I might be a member of the Buck family, one of those things. And so I took him to task about all this on the air. I get a call the next day from Dan Buck. Who peed in your cornflakes, is what he asked me. And I said, Dan, here's the deal. Everything I said I believe to be true, or I wouldn't have said it. Dan then denies having said what he said in that classroom at Olivia Hewlett's high school. And I believe I told him at the time, Daniel, about the only thing that can make any of this worse is if you lie to me about it. And so we have not spoken since. Now, let's bring it full circle. Dan Buck is the guy who was the development director at the St. Patrick's Center and the people who put on the Big Sports Trivia Challenge. So you see what happened here is because I dared to call Dan Buck on his BS. I've been banned from that thing. Now, some people are saying, well, wait a minute, JC, you got this all wrong. Dan Buck left. He's now the director of the Cardinal Glennon development outfit there. He left. Yeah, well, this last event, this trivia challenge, was the last one that he had his fingerprints all over. So, I don't know, maybe now that he's gone from there, maybe next year they'll invite me to participate in the Sports Trivia Challenge, because I'm certainly available and would love to help out. By the same token, that's probably it now for the Costas event, because that is the Cardinal Glennon thing. Dan Buck's running that now. And so, I don't know, maybe now we won't have any access to Bob Costas. Maybe we won't have any involvement with the big celebrity fundraiser for Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital that they do at the Fox Theater. This is how this town works, or doesn't work, as the case may be. You can get one person or one or two people who just decide they're going to blackball you or block your involvement in things. But I thought you should know the story about that, because I have done more charitable work in the nearly 27 years that I've been in St. Louis than a lot of other people who are in my position. And I try to help out when I can, but when somebody says, you know, we don't want you, there's not a whole lot you can do. But again, I'm not surprised. That's how this town works. All right, the Chicago Dental Society just released the results of a survey. They asked hundreds and hundreds of dentists to share the strangest requests they've ever heard, and they put together a top 10 on that list of things that people have said to their dentists. Can you wire my mouth shut to help my diet? Can I pay you to come to my office every day to floss my teeth? I just broke off my engagement. Can you take the diamond out of the ring and put it in my tooth? And finally, can you give my dog braces? A mom in Florida is making her son wear a sign declaring that he has a 1.22 grade point average. 1.22. Then again, it is Florida, so all the other kids are like, quit bragging. Charlie Sheen. It's you know, I try not to. But it's impossible. You got to do a Charlie Sheen story every day. So he has a little party over the weekend. Instead of hoes, he invites a bunch of baseball players and former baseball players like Eddie Murray and Lenny Dykstra and Todd Zeile, formerly of your St. Louis Cardinals. And he brings them all in to do a screening of Major League, and then he brings the director in to sort of comment on it. Who knows what's going on. They're talking about maybe making another Major League movie with a lot of the original people, including Tom Berenger and Charlie. You got Wesley Snipes in jail doing income tax evasion. That could be tough. And Bob Uecker is getting old. They better hurry. That's all I'll say. And how can you tell that Charlie Sheen still is on drugs? How can you tell that Charlie is still doing drugs? It's easy. He says he wants to move both of his ex-wives into his neighborhood. Olivia Munn. Is Matthew Morrison of Glee hitting that? Piers Morgan will interview Larry King in a couple of nights. Awkward! And there's a rumor going around that Glenn Close is going to star in a movie about Susan Boyle. Story's been picked up everywhere. I've seen it on almost every television station here in town. There's only one problem. It's not true. It's completely made up. It's one of those things that started on the internet, and before you know it, everybody's reporting it as fact, and Glenn Close is like, what? What are you talking about? If you think it'll make your marriage happier that you divide the chores right down the middle, 50-50, guess what? Answer is no. New book says that splitting the chores 50-50 just makes both people unhappy. Instead, you're supposed to split up the chores based on who can do each chore quicker. That way you can get through them faster and have more quality time together. So there you go. Here's another little story, a little show business story about somebody who sort of got screwed, and it's Rachel Dratch, who's having a birthday today. She's 45 today. She's was in the original cast of 30 Rock, and a lot of you will probably remember that. But after they did the pilot for 30 Rock, the network was like, we don't think she's cute enough. So the part actually ended up going to Jane Krakowski from Ally McBeal. And she does a wonderful job on it and everything, but Rachel Dratch got screwed in the whole thing. She got demoted, basically, because she wasn't cute enough. At least that's what the network said. It was on this date in 1879 that F.W. Woolworth opened a 5 and dime store in Utica, New York. Woolworths, many of you over the age of 40 will probably remember, and I will tell you something that you probably didn't know. If you were living in St. Louis in the 1970s and you bought something from Woolworths, chances are I had touched it first. And I'll tell you why. Because for 2 years while I was in college, I worked at the Woolworths warehouse on Archer Avenue in Chicago. And it was the central screening distribution warehouse for the entire Midwest. So the toys and the packages and the different products that they sold at Woolworths would come down this giant slide, and then we would take them, and there was a number on it. You would put them on a particular hand truck, and then those trucks would go to the actual semi-trailers and then get shipped to St. Louis and other places. And that's what I did for 2 years and made a lot of good money for college. So, but F.W. Woolworths opened that store on this date in 1879. All right, JC's Eye Candy today. They had the NFL Combine. This is where they invite a lot of rookies in, and you got to run in the sand, and they time you on the 40-yard dash and all that sort of stuff. And they're always pranking people. So they tell the guys, okay, we're going to be outside here, and it looks almost like a bit of a jungle. It's down in Florida, and there's like, trees and all that, and there's sand, and it's near some water and all that, and they tell the guys, all right, now we're going to do the combine here, but we got to tell you this. They're making us tell you, a gorilla got loose from the zoo. The zoo's down the street. A gorilla got loose from the zoo, and the guys are like, yeah, so what? So these guys are out doing their stuff outside, and I'm not going to tell you what happens next, but you got to see it. It's JC's Eye Candy, and it's right here, and it's damned hilarious, so go check that out. All right, don't forget we're doing our Oscar show on Friday on the Big 550 KTRS. We're going to have Eric Make Smash, Joe Holloman from the Post-Dispatch, Trish Gazelle, and JC kicking movies around and talking about the Oscars this weekend. So that's going to be Friday. We're on the air every day from 10 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon on the Big 550 KTRS. That's it, JC's Daily Dose for Tuesday, February 22nd, 2011, a combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. Hi, Dan. In the meantime, we've beaten this one to death. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.